Welcome to White Noise. I hope you enjoy this video. These are comments from the Askreddit subreddit. Link for the thread in the description. What's a meal as a child you thought was fancy or high class but was really the exact opposite? If my parents were going out for the evening, my mom would take us to the grocery store to pick out TV dinners. I usually got turkey, with mashed potatoes, stuffing, those miserable peas and carrots, and some kind of cobbler dessert. No microwaves then, so the foil trays went in the oven. My mom would put the hot tray on a washcloth on a TV table. We got to eat in front of the TV and thought it was fabulous. Those miserable peas and carrots. The pure perfect accuracy at this made me laugh. I used to think my mom made this delicious angel hair pasta with a creamy sauce all from scratch. It was just boxed pastaroni. But I'm glad it is, because she passed when I was 12 years old and it would have sucked that I never got a recipe. Now I can just whip open a box and feel the nostalgia. I thought Red Lobster was classy shit as a child. As an adult I ordered 6 soggy small shrimp that came in bowl and they called it shrimp scampi and paid way too much for it. I think all of these restaurants, Red Lobster, Olive Garden, TGI Fridays, etc., have really gone down in quality over the last few decades. They weren't shitty when we were kids, I don't think. These brands also had one item that was super good and was sent free to tables, which definitely whips the appeal for children. Red Lobster cheddar rolls and Olive Garden breadsticks are probably terrible for you, but they taste like heaven. When I was younger I thought going to those all-you-can-eat buffet like Golden Corral or Ryan's were only for the rich. Used to beg my parents to let us go there, but the response was always too expensive, so I just thought must be fancy and wonderful there. I always thought oyster crackers were super expensive and fancy because I only had them at restaurants with my clam chowder. And the waitress would only give me one tiny packet and it was never enough. Sometimes I would screw up the courage to ask for one more packet if I was extra brave or hungry, but I always felt like maybe that was selfish of me because clearly this is a precious commodity. Fine, you can have another pack, but some poor soul will have to go without later. Salisbury steak. I thought Salisbury referred to a European city, hence making the dish seem cultured, and it has the word steak in it, which, as a child, all steak was fancy steak. Not to mention it was delicious and I rarely go to have it. Took me a long time to realize it's just hamburger and gravy. Love it though. To be fair, Salisbury's a city in England, Europe, but I'm pretty sure there's no link to the eponymous dish. When my spouse lost his tech job in 2008, we had to tighten our belts significantly. Our high school son usually enjoyed his lunch in the cafeteria, but it was getting too expensive. So we started making Sunday dinner every Sunday, typically consisting of some kind of roast, beef, pork or a whole chicken. After cooling it, we sliced the remaining roast into thin slices and made him sandwiches for the rest of the week. He didn't like that the bread got saggy, so my spouse started making homemade rolls instead. We made sure the sandwiches were well made, with lettuce, cheese, etc. We also made sides, potato salad, coleslaw, sliced apples, etc. So he had a full meal. One day, at a parent meeting, we introduced ourselves to another parent who exclaimed, "Oh, you're the ones who make those gourmet sandwiches for your son." Turned out his sandwiches were famous in the school. All because we couldn't afford the cafeteria food. My friend's mom set the table with a tablecloth, poured us glasses of milk, put all the food on nice platters, and let us eat as much as we wanted. I grew up off and on in foster care. When I wasn't in care, cheap meals were served off a pan at the stove onto paper plates. You got what you got. Everyone scattered to sit on the floor or the couch to eat. I thought they must be fabulously wealthy and live some kind of amazing life to have such luxury. Now to have this kind of normal family dinner every night with my kids. Little me would have felt like a queen. When I was a kid, Dad was a machinist who worked the night shift. Mom was a nurse at the local nursing home, also working the night shift. They worked different nights, Dad weeknights, Mom weekends. Anyway, Mom never felt like making a big elaborate meal for Christmas. Especially not after working all night and then working hard to make sure toys and things were on point. So, every year when I was a kid we would get a deli platter. Everyone would make their own giant sandwiches and we would walk around the house playing with toys and visiting. We were pretty poor growing up, so we didn't have lunch meat in the house other than that. We were a big peanut butter and jelly family. So growing up, I always thought lunch meats were special. I would be super impressed when I would go over other kids' houses and they would have roast beef in the fridge like it was an everyday thing. It's great though. I didn't realize that I was missing out on anything as a kid. Sandwiches are special to me now as an adult. Me and the wife did a big deli platter this year for Christmas. It's a lot of fun, there's no cleanup, and it takes off a lot of the pressure of the day. Weirdly, I have a fondness for hotel buffet or cheap diner scrambled eggs. You know, the fluffy yellow scrambled eggs probably made from powdered eggs. Growing up, my parents made rubbery, overcooked scrambled eggs, so those bright yellow eggs at the Marriott buffet or whatever were delicious vacation breakfast foods. As an adult, I realize that those powdered scrambled eggs are worse than what you can make at home, but they remind me of going on vacations as a kid. They taste like nostalgia. Short story. When I was like 5, I had a best friend. I still consider him my best friend even thought we're states apart. Hope you're well, bud. Well, when we were kids, my friend commented that he thought my family was rich because we bought fast food rather often and that he was poor because his family never did that. Ironically, it was quite the opposite. Mom was just getting over cancer and still didn't have the energy to cook, so McDonald's it was. Well, my friend and I talked more about it and I felt bad for him for being poor, so my solution was not to give him money or anything like that. No, that would have been logical. I decided to give my buddy all of our tortillas. I think it was an unopened bag. Thanks for listening. I hope I have time for making more videos in the future.